Is requested here, Mart, Sir Sam. Act 3 of King Richard. Scene 1, Bristol, Bolingbroke's camp. Enter Bolingbroke, York, Northumberland, Henry, Percy, Willoughby, Ross, officers behind with Bushy and Green prisoners. Bring forth these men, Bushy and Green. I will not vex your souls, since presently your souls must part your bodies, with too much urging your pernicious lives. For 'twere no charity, yet to wash your blood from off your hands, her in the view of men, I will unfold some causes of your death. You have misled a prince, a royal king, a happy gentleman of blood and lineaments. By you unhappy and disfigured clean. You have in manner with your sinful hours made a divorce betwixt this queen and him, broke the possession of a royal bed, and stained the beauty of fair queen's cheeks with tears drawn from her eyes by your foul wrongs. Myself a prince by fortune of my birth, near to the king in blood and near in love, till you did make him misinterpret me. Have stooped my neck under injuries, and sighed my English breath in foreign clouds, eating the bitter bread of banishment, whilst you have fed upon my seigneuries, disparked my parks and felled my forest woods, from my own window torn my household coat, raised out my empress, leaving me no sign, save men's opinions and my living blood, to show the world I am a gentleman. This and much more than twice all this, condemns you to the death. See them delivered over to the execution hand of death. More welcome to the stroke of death to me than Bolingbroke in England. Lords, farewell. My comfort is that heaven will take your souls and plague injustice with the pains of hell. My lord Northumberland, see them dispatched. Uncle, you say, the queen is at your house. For God's sake, fairly, let her be entreated. Tell her I send to her my kind commend. Her kind commends. Take special care my greetings be delivered. A gentleman of mine I have a dispatch with letters of your love to her at large. Thanks, gentle uncle. Come lords away to fight with Glendower with his accomplices a while to work and after holiday. Scene 2, the coast of Wales, the castle in view. Flourish, drums and trumpets, enter King Richard and Bishop of Carlisle, armourer and soldiers. Barclafley Castle call they this at hand. Yeah, my lord, how brooks your grace the air? After your late tossing on the breaking seas, needs must I like it well, I weep for joy to stand upon my kingdom once again. Dear earth, I do salute thee with my hand. Thou rebels wound thee with her horse's hoofs, as a long-parted mother with her child plays fondly with her tears and smiles in meeting. So weeping, smiling, greet I thee, my earth, and do thee favour with my royal hands. Feed not thy sovereign's foe, my gentle earth, nor with thy sweet comforts in his ravenous sense. But let thy spiders and suck up thy venom, and heavy-gated toads lie in their way, doing annoyance to the treacherous feet which with usurping steps do trample thee. Yield stinging nettles to mine enemies, and when they from thy bosom pluck a flower, guard it, I pray thee, with a lurking adder, whose double tongue, maybe with a mortal touch, throw death upon my sovereign's enemies. Mock not my senseless conjuration, lords. This earth shall have a funeral, and these stones prove armed soldiers, ere her native king shall falter under her foul rebellion arms. Fear not, my lord, that power that made you king had power to keep you king in spite of all. That means that heaven yields must be embraced, and not neglected, else if heaven would, and we will not. Heaven's offer we refuse, the proffered means or succoured in redress. He means, my lord, that we are too remiss, whilst Bolingbroke, through our security, grows strong and great in substance and in friends.
He has specialized knowledge of the facility. It is well guarded.
Discomfortable cousin, knowest thou not that when the searching eye of heaven is hid behind the globe and lights of lower world, then thieves and robbers range abroad unseen, and murderers and in outrage bloody here, but when from under this terrestrial ball he fires the proud tops of the eastern pines and darts his light through every guilty hole, then murderers, treason, and detested sins, the cloak of night being plucked from all their backs. Where are you? Who is it? Stand bare and naked, trembling at themselves. So when the thief, this traitor, Bolingbroke, who all this while hath revelled in the night, whilst we were wandering with his antipodes, shall see us rising in our throne. The east, his treasons will sit blushing in his face, not able to endure the sight of day, but self-affrighted tremble at his sin. Not all the water in the rough, rude sea can wash the balm from an anointed king. The breath of worldly men cannot dispose the deputy elected by the Lord. You can see it. For every man that Bolingbroke hath pressed to lift shrewd steel against our golden crown, God for his riches hath he in heavenly pay a glorious angel. Then if the angels fight, weak men must fall, for heaven still guards the right. Enter Salisbury. Welcome, my lord. How far off lies your power? Nor near nor further off, my gracious lord, than this weak arm. Discomfort guides my tongue, and bids me speak of nothing but despair. One day too late, I fear me, noble lord, hath clouded all the happy days on earth. Oi, call back yesterday, bid time return. And thou shalt have 12,000 fighting men. Today, unhappy day, too late. Where o'erthrows the joys, friends, fortune, and thy state? For all the Welshmen hearing now we're dead are gone to Bolingbroke, dispersed and fled. Comfort, my liege, why looks your grace so pale? But now the blood of 20,000 men did triumph in my face, and they are fled. Until so much blood thither come again, have I not reason to look pale and dead? All souls that will be safe fly from my side, for time hath set a blot upon my pride. Comfort, my liege, remember who you are. I had forgot myself, am I not king? Awake, thou sluggard majesty, thou sleepest, is not the king's name 20,000 names? Arm, arm, my name, a puny subject strikes at the great glory. Look not to the ground, ye favorites of a king, are we not high? High be our thoughts, I know my uncle York hath power enough to serve our turn, but who comes here? Enter Sir Stephen Scroop. More health and happiness betide my liege, then can my care-tongued tongue deliver him. My ear is open, my heart prepared, the worst of worldly loss thou canst unfold. Say, is my kingdom lost? Why, 'twas my care, and what loss is it to be rid of care? Strives Bolingbroke to be as great as we. Greater he shall not be, if he serve God, we'll serve him too, and be his fellows so. Revolt our subjects, that we cannot mend, they break their faith to God as well as us. Cry woe, destruction, ruin, loss, decay. The worst is death, and death will have his day. Glad am I that your highness is so armed to bear the tidings of calamity, like an unseasonable stormy day, which makes the silver rivers down their shores as if the world were all dissolved to tears. So high above his limits swells the rage of Bolingbroke, covering your fearful with his hard bright steel and hearts harder than steel. White beards have armed their thin and hairless scalps against thy majesty, and boys with women's voices strive to speak big, and clap their female joints and stiff unwieldy arms against thy crown. Thy very beadsmen learn to bend their bows of double fatal yew against thy state. Yea, distaff woman manage rusty bills against thy seat, both young and old rebel, and all goes worse than I have power to tell. Too well thou tellest tell so ill. Where is the Earl of Wiltshire? Where is Bagot? Where is become of Bushy? Where is Green? That there have let the dangerous enemy measure our confines with such peaceful steps. If we prevail, their heads shall pay for it. I warrant that they have made peace with Bolingbroke. Peace have they made with him, indeed, my lord. Oi, villains, vipers, damned without redemption, dogs easily won to fawn on any man, snakes in my heart blood warm that sting my heart. 3 Judases, each one thrice worse than Judas. Would they make peace? Terrible hell make war upon their spotted souls for their offense. Sweet love I see, changing his property, turns to the sourest and most deadly hate. Again uncurse their souls. Their peace is made with heads and not with hands, whom you curse have felt the worst of death's destroying wound, and lie full low, graved in the hollow ground. Is Bushy, Green, and the Earl of Wiltshire dead? Yeah, all of them at Bristol lost their heads. Where is the Duke, my father, with his power? No matter where. Of comfort no man speak. Let's talk of graves, of worms, and epitaphs. Make dust our paper, and with rainy eyes write sorrow on the bosom of the earth. Let's choose executors and talk of wills, and yet not so. For what can be bequeathed save the deposed bodies to the ground? Our land, our lives, and all our Bolingbroke's, and nothing can we call our own but death, and that small model of the barren earth, which serves as paste and cover to our bones. For God's sake, let us sit upon the ground and tell sad stories of the death of kings. How some have been disposed, some slain in war, some haunted by the ghosts they have disposed, some poisoned by their wives, some sleeping killed. All murdered, for within the hollow crown that rounds the mortal temples of a king keeps death his court, and there the antic sits, scoffing his state and grimming at his pomp, allowing him a breath, a little seen, to monarchize, be feared, and kill with looks, infusing him with self and vain conceit, as if this flesh which falls about our life were brass impregnable, and humor thus comes at the last, and with a little pin bores through his castle wall. And farewell, king. Cover your heads, mock not flesh and blood with solemn reverence. Throw away respect, tradition, form, and ceremonious duty, for you have but mistook me all this while. I live with bread like you, feel, want, taste, grieve, need friends, subjected. Thus, how can you say to me, I am a king? My lord, wise men ne'er sit and wail their woes, but presently prevent the waves to wail. To fear the foe, since fear oppresseth strength, gives and your weakness strength unto your foe, and so your follies fight against yourself. Fear and be slain. No worse can come to fight, and fight and die is death, destroying death, where fear and dying pays death's servile breath. My father had the power. Inquire of him and learn to make a body of a limb. Thou chidest me well, proud of Bolingbroke. I come to change blows with thee for our day of doom. This ague fit of fear is overblown. An easy task it is to win our own. Say, Scroop, where lies our uncle with his power? Speak swiftly, man, although thy looks be sour. Men judge by the complexion of the sky, the state and the inclination of the day. Say, may you by my dull and heavy eye? My tongue hath had a heavy tale to say. I play the torturer by small and small to lengthen out the worst and the must be spoken. Your Uncle York is joined with Bolingbroke, and all your northern castles yielded up, and all your southern gentlemen arms upon his party. Thou hast said enough. Beshrew thee, cousin, which didst lead me forth of that sweet way I was in to despair. What say you now? What comfort have we now? By heaven, I'll hate him everlastingly that bids me be of comfort any more. Go to Flint Castle, there I'll pain away. A king, woe's slave, shall King Woe obey. That power I have, discharge, and let them go to ear the land that hath some hope to grow. For I have none, let no man speak again, to alter this for counsels but vain. My liege, one word. He doth me double wrong, that wounds me with the flatteries of his tongue. Discharge my followers, let them hence away, from Richard's night to Bolingbroke's fair day. Scene 3, Wales before Flint Castle. Enter with drum and colours, Bolingbroke and forces, York, Northumberland, and others. So by this intelligence we learn the Welshmen are dispersed, and Salisbury is gone to meet the king, who lately landed with some few private friends upon this coast. The news is very fair and good, my lord. Richard not far from hence hath hid his head. It would beseem the Lord Northumberland to save King Richard alack the heavy day, when such a sacred king should hide his head. Your grace mistakes, only to be brief, left I his title out. The time hath been, would you have been so brief with him, he would have been so brief with you, to shorten you, for taking so the head, your whole head's length. Mistake not, uncle, further than you should. Take not, good cousin, further than you should, lest you mistake the heavens are o'er our heads. I know it, uncle, and oppose not myself against therewith. But who comes here? Enter Henry Percy. Welcome, Harry. What will not this castle yield? The castle royally is manned by my lord against thy entrance. Royally? Why, it contains no king. Yes, my good lord, it doth contain a king. King Richard lies within the limits of you, lime and stone, and with him are the Lord Admiral, Lord Salisbury, Sir Stephen Scroop, besides the clergyman of holy reverence, who I cannot learn. Oui, belike it is Bishop Carlisle. Noble lord, go to the rude ribs of that ancient castle. Through brazen trumpets send the breath of parley into the ruins here, and thus deliver Henry Bolingbroke. On both his knees doth kiss King Richard's hands, and sends allegiance and true faith of heart to his most royal person. Hither come, even at his feet, to lay my arms and power, provided that my banishment, repealed and lands restored again, be freely granted. If not, I'll use the advantage of my power, and lay the summer's dust with the showers of blood, rained from the wounds of slaughtered Englishmen. The which how far off from the mind of Bolingbroke? It is such crimson tempest should bedwrench the fresh green lap of fair King Richard's land. My stooping duty tenderly shall show. Go, signify as much, while we are marched upon the grassy carpet of this plain. Let's march without the noise of threatening drum, that from the castle's tottered battlements. Our fair appointments may be well pursued. Methinks King Richard and myself should meet with no less terror than the elements of fire and water, when their thundering shock at meeting tears the cloudy cheeks of heaven. Be he the fire, I'll be the yielding water. The rage be his, while on the earth I reign, my watchers. On the earth and not on him. March on and mark King Richard how he looks. A parley sounded and answered by a trumpet within. Flourish, enter on the walls King Richard, the Bishop of Carlisle, Almerle, Scroop, and Salisbury. See, King Richard doth himself appear, as doth the blushing, discontented sun from out the fiery portal of the east, when he perceives the envious clouds are bent to dim his glory and to stain the track of his bright passage to the Occident. Yet looks he like a king, behold his eye, as bright as is the eagle's, lightens forth controlling majesty. Alack, alack for woe, that any harm should stain so fair a show. We are amazed, and thus long have we stood to watch the fearful bending of thy knee, because we thought ourselves thy lawful king. And if we be, how dare thy joints forget to pay their awful duty to our presence? If we be not, show us the hand of God that hath dismissed us from our stewardship. For well we know no hand of blood and bone can gripe the sacred handle of the scepter, unless he do profane steel or usurp. And know you think that all, as you have done, have torn their souls by turning them from us, and we are barren and bereft of friends. Yet know, my master, God, omnipotent, is mustering in his clouds on our behalf armies of pestilence, and they shall strike your children yet unborn and unbegot, that lift your vessel hands against my head and threat the glory of my precious crown. Tell Bolingbroke, for yon methinks he is, that every stride he makes upon my land is dangerous treason. He has come to open the purple testament of bleeding war, but ere the crown he looks for life and peace. 10,000 bloody crowns of mother sons shall ill become the flower of England's face, change the complexion of her made pale peace to scarlet indignation, and bedew her pastures grass with faithful English blood. The King of Heaven forbid our Lord the King should so with civil and uncivil arms be rushed upon. Thy thrice noble cousin Harry Bolingbroke doth humbly kiss thy hand, and by the honorable tomb he swears, that stands upon your royal grandsire's bones, and by the royalties of both your bloods, currents that springs from one most gracious head, and by the buried hand of warlike Gaunt, and by the worth and honor of himself, comprising all that may be sworn or said, is coming hither, hath no further scope than for his lineal royalties, and to beg enfranchisement immediate on his knees, which on thy royal party granted once, his glittering arms he will commend to rust, his barbed steeds to stables, and his heart to faithful service of your majesty. This swears he is a prince, is just, and as I am a gentleman, I credit him. I thank you. Northumberland, say, thus the king returns, his noble cousin is right welcome hither, and all the number of his fair demands shall be accomplished without contradiction, with all the gracious utterance thou hast speak to his gentle hearing kind commends. We do debase ourselves, cousin, we do not, to look so poorly and to speak so fair. Shall we call back Northumberland and send defiance to the traitor, and so die? No, good my lord, let's fight with gentle words, till time lend friends and friends their helpful swords. Oy God, that ere his tongue of mine, that laid the sentence of dread banishment on yon proud man, should take it off again with words of sooth. Oi, that I were as great as is my grief, or lesser than my name, or that I could forget what I have been, or not remember when I must be now. Swell'st thou, proud heart? I'll give thee scope to beat, since foes have scopes to beat both thee and me. Northumberland comes back from Bolingbroke. What must the king do now? Must he submit? The king shall do it. Must he be deposed? The king shall be contented. Must he lose the name of king? Oh, God's name, let it go. I'll give my jewels for a set of beads, my gorgeous palace for a hermitage, my gay apparel for almond's gown, my figured goblets for a dish of wood, my scepter for a palmer's walking staff, my subjects for a pair of carved saints, and my large kingdom for a little grave. A little grave, and an obscure grave, or I'll be buried in the king's highway. Some way of common trade where subjects' feet may hourly trample on their sovereign's head. For on my heart they tread now while I live, and buried once, why not upon my head? Merle, thou weepest, my tender-hearted cousin. We'll make foul weather with despised tears. Our sighs, and they shall lodge the summer corn, and make dearest in this revolting land. Or shall we play the wanton with our woes, and make some pretty match with shedding tears? As thus strap them all upon one place, till they have fretted as a pair of graves with the earth, and therein laid their lives. Two kinsmen dig their graves with weeping eyes. Would not this ill do well? Well, well, I see I talk, but idly, and you laugh at me. But mighty prince, my lord Northumberland, what says King Bolingbroke? Will his majesty give Richard leave to live till Richard die? You make a leg, and Bolingbroke says I. My lord, in the base court he doth attend to speak with you. May it please you to come down? Down, down I come, like glistening Phaedon, wanting the manage of unruly jades. In the base court where kings grow base, to come as traitors, cause and do them grace. In the base court, come down court, down king. For night owls shriek where mounting larks should have seen, where mounting larks should sing. What says his majesty? Sorrow and grief of heart makes him speak fondly like a frantic man, yet he is come. Enter King Richard and his tenants. Stand all apart, and show fair duty to his majesty. My gracious lord, fair cousin, you debase your princely knee to make the base earth proud with kissing it. Me rather had my heart might feel your love than my unpleased eyes see your courtesy. Up, cousin, up, your heart is up, I know, thus high at least, although your knee be low. My gracious lord, I come but for my own. Your own is yours, and I am yours in all. So far be mine, and most redoubted lord, as my true service shall deserve your love. Well you deserve, they well deserve to have, that know the strongest and surest way to get uncle, give me your hand. Nay, dry your eyes. Tears show their love, but want the remedies, cousin. I am too young to be your father, though you are old enough to be my heir. What you will have I'll give, and willing too, for do what we must, what force will have us do. Set on towards London. Cousin, is it so? Yeah, my good lord. Then I must not say no. Scene 4. Langley, the Duke of York's garden. Enter the Queen and two ladies. What sport shall we devise here in this garden? To drive away the heavy thought of care? Madam, we'll play at bowls. 'Twill make me think the world's full of rubs, and that my fortune runs against the bias. Madam, we'll dance. My legs can keep no measure in delight, when my poor heart no measure keeps in grief. Therefore no dancing, girl, some other sport. Madam, we'll tell tales of sorrow or of joy, of either, madam, of neither, girl. For if of joy being altogether wanting, it doth remember me the more of sorrow. Or if of grief being altogether had, it adds more sorrow to me want of joy. For what I have I need not to repeat, for what I want it boots not to complain. Madam, I'll sing. 'Tis well that thou hast cause, but thou shouldst please me better wouldst thou weep. I could weep, madam, would it do you good, and I could sing, would weep and do me good, and never would borrow any tear of thee. But stay here, come the gardeners, let's step into the shadow of this tree. My wretchedness unto a row of pins will talk of state, for every one doth so against change. Woe is forerun with woe. Enter gardener to servant. Go bind thou up yon dangling apricots, which like unruly children make their sires stoop with the oppression of their prodigal weight. Give some supportance to the bending twigs. Go thou, and like an executioner, cut off the heads of two fast-growing sprays. That look too lofty in our commonwealth. All must be even in our government. You thus employed, I will go root away the noisome weeds, that without profit suck the soil's fertility from wholesome flowers. Why should we in the compass of a pale keep law and form and due preparation, showing as in a model our firm estate, when our sea-walled garden the whole land is full of weeds, her fairest flowers choked up, her fruit trees all unpruned, her hedges ruined, her nuts disordered, and her wholesome herbs swarming with caterpillars? Hold thy peace. He that hath suffered this disordered spring hath now himself met with the fail of leaf. The weeds that hath broad spreading leaves did shelter, that seemed in eating him to hold him up, are plucked up root and all by Bolingbroke. I mean the Earl of Wiltshire, Bushy Green. What, are they dead? They are, and Bolingbroke hath seized the wasteful king. Oy, what pity is it, that he hath not so trimmed and dressed his land as we this garden. We at time of year do wound the bark, the skin of our fruit trees, lest, being overproud with sap and blood, with too much riches, it confound itself. Had he done so to great and growing men, they might have lived to bear, he to taste, their fruits of duty. Superfluous branches we lop away, that barren boughs may live. Had he done so himself, and borne the crown, which wastes of idle hours hath quite thrown down. What? Think you, then, the king shall be disposed? Depressed he is already, and disposed 'tis doubt he will be. Letters come last night to a dear friend of the good Duke of York's that tell black tidings. Oui, I am pressed to death through want of speaking. Thou old Adam's likeness, set to dress this garden, how dares thy harsh rude tongue sound this unpleasing news? What Eve, what serpent hath suggested thee to make a second fall of cursed men? Why dost thou say King Richard is deposed? Darest thou little better thing than earth, divine his downfall? Say, where, when, and how camest thou by these ill tidings? Speak, thou wretch. Pardon me, madam, little joy have I to breathe these news, yet what I say is true. King Richard, he is in the mighty hold of Bolingbroke. Their fortunes both are weighed. In your lord's scale is nothing but himself, and some few vanities that make him light, and in the balance of great Bolingbroke besides himself are all the English peers, and with the odds he weighs King Richard down. Post you to London, and you'll find it so. I speak no more than every one doth know. Nimble mischance, that art so light of foot, doth not thy embassage belong to me? And am I last that knows it? Oy, thou thinkest to serve me last, that I my longest keep thy sorrow to my breast. Come, ladies, go, to meet London's king in woe. What, was I born to this, that my sad look should grace the triumph of great Bolingbroke? Gardener, for telling me these news of woe, pray God the plants thou graftest may never grow. Poor queen, so that thy state might be no worse, I would my skill were subject to thy curse. Here did she fall a tear, here in this place I'll set a bank of rue, sour herb of grace. Rue, even for Ruth, here shortly shall be seen, in the remembrance of a weeping queen.
Hi there. Check, check, check. Thank you, thank you. Please, Gardener, it's busy.
Okay, we can continue here. King Richard II. Act 4, Scene 1, London, Westminster Hall. The Lord Spiritual on the right side of the throne, the Lords Temporal on the left. The Commons below. Enter Bolingbroke, Armorel, Surrey, Northumberland, Henry, Percy, Fitzwater, another lord, the Bishop of Carlisle, the Abbot of Westminster in attendance, officers behind with Bagot. Call forth Bagot. Now, Bagot, freely speak thy mind. What thou dost know of noble Gloucester's death? Who wrought it with the king, and who performed the bloody office of his timeless end? Then set before my face the Lord Armorel. Cousin, stand forth and look upon that man. My Lord Armorel, I know your daring tongue scorns to unsay what once it hath delivered. In that dead time when Gloucester's death was plotted, I heard you say, Is not my arm of length that reacheth from the restful English court as far as Calais to my uncle's head? Amongst much other talk, that very time I heard you say that you had rather refuse the offer of 100,000 crowns than Bolingbroke's return to England, adding withal how blessed this land would be in this your cousin's death. Princes and noble lords, what answer shall I make to this man? Shall I so much dishonor my fair stars on equal terms to give him chastisement? Either I must or have my honor soiled with the attainder of this slanderous lips. There is my gage, the manual seal of death that marks thee out for hell. I say thou liest, and will maintain what thou hast said in false, in the hearty blood, thou being all too base to stain the temper of my knightly sword. Begat, forbear, thou shalt not take it up. Excepting one, I would be were the best. In all this presence that hath moved me so, if that the valor stand on sympathies, there is my gage. Amaral, engaged to thine, by that fair sun which shows me where thou standest. I heard thee say, and vauntingly thou spakest it, that thou wert cause of noble Gloucester's death. If thou deniest it 20 times, thou liest, and I will turn thy falsehood to thy heart, where it was forged with my rapier's point. Thou darest not, coward, live to see that day. Now, by my soul, I would it were this hour. Fitzwater, thou art damned to hell for this. Amaral, thou liest, his honor is as true in this appeal as thou art all unjust. And that thou art so, there I throw my gage, to prove it on thee to the extremest point of mortal breathing. Seize it if thou darest, and if I do not, may my hands rot off, and never brandish more revengeful steel over the glittering helmet to my foe. And I tax the earth to like forsworn armory, and spur thee on with full as many lies as may be hollowed in thy treacherous ear from sun to sun. There is my honor's pawn, engage it to the trial if thou darest. Who sets me else? By heaven, I'll throw it all. I have 1,000 spirits. I have 1,000 spirits in one breast, to answer 20,000 such as you. My lord Fitzwater, I do remember well the very time Amaral and did what talk. 'Tis very true, you were in presence then, and you can witness with me this is true. As false by heaven as heaven itself is true. Surrey, thou liest. Dishonorable boy, that lie shall lie so heavy on my sword that it shall render vengeance and revenge, till thou the lie giver, and that lie do lie in earth, as quiet as thy father's skull. And proof whereof there is my mother's pawn. Engage it to the trial, if thou darest. How fondly dost thou spur a forward horse! If I dare eat or drink or breathe or live, I dare meet Surrey in a wilderness, and spit upon him, whilst I say he lies, and lies and lies. There is my bond of faith, to tie thee to my strong correction. As I intend to thrive on this new world, Amaral is guilty of my true appeal. Besides, I heard the banished of Norfolk say that thou, Amaral, didst send 2 of thy men to execute the noble Duke Carlisle. Some honest Christian trusts me with the gage. That's Norfolk lied. Here do I throw down this, if he may be repealed to try this honor. These differences shall all rest under gage, till Norfolk be repealed. Repealed he shall be, and know my enemy restored again to all his lands and signories. When he's returned against Amaral, he will enforce his trial. The honorable day shall ne'er be seen. Many a time hath banished Norfolk fought for Jesus Christ in glorious Christian fields, streaming the ensign of the Christian cross against black pagans, Turks, and Saracens, and toiled with works of war, retired himself to Italy, and there at Venice gave his body to that pleasant country's earth, and his pure soul unto his captain Christ, under whose colors he had fought so long. Why, Bishop, is Norfolk dead? As surely as I live, my lord. Sweet peace conduct his sweet soul to the bosom of good old Abraham. Lords, appellants, your differences shall all rest under gage till we assign you to your days of trial. Enter York attended. Great Duke of Lancaster, I come to thee from Plume, plucked Richard, who will willingly soul.
Okay, that's gonna make me mad.
Adopts the heir, and his high scepter yields to the possession of the royal hand. Ascend his throne, descending now from him, and long live Henry of that name the 4th. In God's name, I'll ascend the regal throne. Marry, God forbid. Worst in this royal presence may I speak, yet best beseeming me to speak the truth. Would God that any of his noble presence were enough noble to be upright judge and noble Richard, then true noblesse would learn him forbearance from so foul a wrong, what subject can give sentence on his king? And who sits here that is not Richard's subject? These are not judged, but they are by to hear. although apparent guilt be seen in them, and shall be figure of God's majesty. His captain, steward, deputy elect, anointed crown, planted many years, be judged by subject in inferior breath, and he himself not present. We forfend it, God, that in a Christian climate souls refined should show so heinous black obscene a deed. I speak to subject, and a subject speaks, stirred up by God thus boldly for his king. My lord of Hereford here, whom you call king, is a foul traitor to proud Hereford's king. And if you crown him, let me prophesy, the blood of English shall manure the ground, and future ages groan for this foul act. Peace shall go sleep with Turks and infidels, and in this seat of peace tumultuous wars shall kin with kin and kind with kind confound disorder, horror, fear, and mutiny shall here inhabit, and this land be called the field of Golgotha, and dead men's skulls. Oi, if you rear this house against this house, it will be the woefulest division prove that it ever fell upon this cursed earth. Prevent it, resist it, let it not be so. Lest child's children cry against you, woe. Well, have you argued, sir? And for your pains of capital treason we arrest you here. My lord of Westminster, be it your charge to keep him safely till this day of trial. May it please you, lords, to grant the common suit. Fetch hither Richard, that in common view he may surrender, so we shall proceed without suspicion. I will be his conduct. Lords, you that here are under our arrest, that whole civil asset forfeiture thing, procure your sureties for your days of answer. Little are beholding to your love, and little looked for at your helping hands. Re-enter York with King Richard, and officers bearing the crown. Alack, why am I sent for to a king before I have shook off the regal thoughts wherewith I reigned? I hardly yet have learned to insinuate, flatter, bow, and bend my limbs. Give sorrow leave awhile to tutor me to this submission. Yet I well remember the favors of these men. Were they not mine? Did they not sometime cry, ah, hell, to me? So Judas did to Christ, but he and 12 found truth in all but one. I and 12,000, none. God save the king. Will no man say amen? Am I both priest and clerk? Well then, amen. God save the king, although I be not he, and yet amen, if heaven do think him me. To do what service am I sent for hither? To do that offense of thy own goodwill, which tired majesty did make thee offer, the resignation of thy state and crown to Henry Bolingbroke. Give me the crown. Here, cousin, seize the crown. Here, cousin. On this side my hand, and on that side thine. Now is this golden crown like a deep well that owes two buckets filling one another, the emptier ever dancing in the air, the other down, unseen and full of water. That bucket down and full of tears am I, drinking my griefs whilst you mount up on high. I thought you had been willing to resign. My crown I am, but still my griefs are mine. You may my glories in my state dispose, but not my griefs. Still am I king of those. Part of your cares you give me with your crown. Your cares set up do not pluck my cares down. My care is loss of care, by old care down. Your care is gain of care, by new care won. The cares I give I have, though given away. The 10 the crown, yet still with me they stay. Are you contented to resign the crown? I no. No, I, for I must nothing be. Therefore, no, for I resign to thee. Now mark me how I will undo myself. I give this heavy weight from off my head, and this unwieldy scepter from my hand. The pride of kingly sway from my heart. With my own tears I wash away my balm. With my own hands I give away my crown. With my own tongue deny my sacred state. With my own breath release all duteous rights. All pomp and majesty I do forswear. My manners, rents, revenues I forgo. My acts, decrees, and statutes I deny. God pardon all the oaths that are broke to me. God keep all vows unbroke are made to thee. Make me that nothing have, with nothing grieve, and thou with all pleased that thou hast all achieved. Long mayest thou live in Richard's seat to sit, and soon lie Richard in an earthy pit. God save King Henry, unking Richard say, and send him many years of sunshine days. What more remains? No more, but that you read these accusations and these grievous crimes committed by your person and your followers against the state and profit of this land, that by confessing them the souls of men may deem that you are worthily deposed. Must I do so? And must I revel out my weaved up follies? Gentle Northumberland, If thy offences were upon record, would it not shame me, so fair a troop, to read a lecture of them? If thou wouldst, there shouldst thou find one heinous article, containing the deposing of a king, and cracking the strong warrant of an oath, marked with a blot, damned in the book of heaven. Nay, all of you that stand and look upon me, whilst that my wretchedness doth bate myself, thou some of you with plot wash your hands, showing an outward pity, yet you plots have here delivered me to your sour cross, and water cannot wash away your sin. My lord, dispatch, read o'er these articles. Mine eyes are full of tears, I cannot see, and yet salt water blinds them not so much, and they cannot see a sort of trade is here. Nay, if I turn mine eyes upon myself, I find myself a traitor with the rest. For I have given here my soul's consent, to undeck the pompous body of a king, made glory base and sovereignty a slave, proud majesty a subject, state a peasant. My lord of thine, thou hot and skulking man, nor no man's lord, I have no name, no title, no, not the name was given me at the front. But 'tis unserved, alack the heavy day, that I have worn so many winters out, and know not now that name to call myself. Oy, that I were a mighty king of snow, standing before the sun of Bolingbroke, to melt myself away in watery drops. Good king, great king, and yet not greatly good. And if my word be sternly yet in England, yet it command a mirror hither straight, that it may show me what a face I have, since it is breakrick of his majesty. Go, some of you, and fetch a looking-glass. Read o'er this paper while the glass doth come. Fiend, thou tormentest me ere I come to hell. Helen Keller, urge to no more my lord Northumberland. The commons will not, then, be satisfied. They shall be satisfied, I'll read enough. When I do see the very book indeed, where all my sins are writ, that's myself. Re-entered attendant with a glass. Give me the glass, and therein will I read. No deeper wrinkles yet. Hath sorrow struck so many blows upon the face of mine, and made no deeper wounds. We flattering glass, like to my fathers in prosperity, thou dost beguile me. Was this face the face that every day under the household aloof to keep 10,000 men? Was this the face that like the sun did make beholders wink? Was this the face so many follies, and was at last outfaced by Bolingbroke? A brittle glory shineth in the face, as brittle as the glory of their face. For there it is, cracked on 100 shivers. Mark, silent king, and the moral of his sport. How soon my sorrow hath destroyed my face. The shadow of your sorrow hath destroyed the shadow of your face. Say that again, the shadow of my sorrow. Ha, let's see. 'Tis very true, my grief lies all within, and these external manners of laments are merely shadows of the unseen grief that swells with silence in the tortured soul. There lies the substance, and I thank thee, king, for the great bounty that not only grieveth me cause to wail, but teaches me the way how to lament the cause. I'll beg one boon, and then be gone, and trouble you no more. Shall I obtain it? Name it, fair cousin. Fair cousin, I am greater than a king. From when I was a king, my flatterers were then but subjects. Being now a subject, I have a king here to my flatterer. Being so great, I have no need to beg. Yet ask, and shall I have? You shall. Then give me leave to go. Whither? Whither you will, so I were from your sight. Go, some of you convey to the towers. Oi, good, convey? Conveyors are you all, that rise thus nimbly by a true king's fall. On Wednesday next we solemnly set down our coronation. Lords, prepare yourselves. A woeful pageant have we here beheld. The woes to come, the children yet unborn, shall feel this day as sharp as in this thorn. You holy clergymen, is there no plot to rid the realm of this pernicious blot? My lord, before I freely speak my mind therein, you shall not only take the sacrament to bear my intents, but also to effect whatever I shall have them devise. I see your brows are full of discontent, your hearts of sorrow, and your eyes of tears. Come home with me to supper. I will lay a plot shall show us all a merry day. Okay, Act 5 of Richard II. Scene 1, London, a street leading to the tower. Enter the queen and ladies. This way the king will come. This is the way to Julius Caesar's ill-erected tower, to whose flint bosom my condemned lord is doomed a prisoner by proud Bolingbroke. Here let us rest, if this rebellious earth have any resting for her true king's queen. Enter King Richard and guard. But soft, but see, or rather do not see, my fair rose wither, yet look up, behold, that you in pity may dissolve to dew, and wash him fresh again with true love tears. Ah, thou, the model where old Troy did stand, thou map of honor, thou King Richard's tomb, and not King Richard, thou most beauteous inn. Why should hard-favored grief be lodged in thee, when triumph has become an alehouse guest? Join not with grief, fair woman, do not so. To make my end too sudden, learn, good soul, to think our former state a happy dream, from which awaked the truth of what we are chose us but this. I am sworn, brother, sweet to grim necessity, and he and I will keep a league till death. Hie thee to France, and cloister thee in some religious house. Our holy lives must win a new world's crown, which our profane hours here have stricken down. What? Is my Richard both in shape and mind, transformed and weakened? Hath boiling broke disposed thine intellect? Hath he been in my heart? The lion dying trusts forth his paw and wounds the earth, if nothing else, with rage to be o'erpowered. And wilt thou, pupil-like, take thy correction mildly? Kiss the rod, and fawn on rage with base humility, which art a lion and a king of beasts. A king of beasts indeed, if aught but beasts, I had been still a happy king of men. Good sometimes, queen, prepare thee hence for France. Think I am dead, and that even here you task, as from my deathbed my last living leave. In winter's tedious night sit by the fire with good old folks, and let them tell thee tales of woeful ages long ago betid. And ere thou bid good night, to quit their grief, tell thou the lamentable tale of me, and send the hearers weeping in their beds. For why the senseless brains will sympathize the heavy accent of thy moving tongue, and in compassion weep the fire out. And some will mourn in ashes, some coal black, for the deposing of the rightful king. Enter Northumberland attended. My lord, the mind of Bolingbroke is changed. You must go Pomfret, not into the tower. And madam, there is order ta'en for you, with all swift speed, and away the fronts.
Need my sidearm.
Thou ladder the wherewithal. The mountain Bolingbroke ascends my throne. The time shall not be many hours of age more than it is, ere foul sin gathering head shall break into corruption. Thou shalt think, though he divide the realm and give thee half, it is too little helping him to all. And he shall think that thou, which knowest the way to plant on rightful kings, wilt now again, being ne'er so little urged another way, to pluck him headlong from the usurped throne. The love of wicked friends converts to fear, that fear to hate, and hate turns one or both to worthy danger and deserved death. My guilt be on my head, and there an end. Take leave and part, for you must part forthwith. Doubly divorced, bad men ye violate a twofold marriage, twixt my crown and me, and then betwixt me and my married wife. Let me unkiss the oath twixt thee and me, and yet not so, for with the kiss 'twas made. Part us, Northumberland, I towards the north, where shivering cold and sickness pines the climb. My wife to France, from whence set forth in pomp. She came adorned hither like sweet May, sent back like Hallowmas, or shortest of days. And must we be divided? Must we part? Aye, hand from hand, my love, and heart from heart. Banish us both, and send the king with me. That were some love, but little policy. Then whither he goes, thither let me go. So two together weeping make one woe. Weep thou for me in France, I for thee here. Better afar off than near, be nearer than near. Go, count thy way with sighs, I mine with groans. So longest way shall have the longest moans. Twice for one step I'll groan, the way being short. And piece the way out with a heavy heart. Come, come, in wooing sorrow let it be brief, since wedding it there is such length and grief. One kiss shall stop our mouths and dumbly part. Thus give I mine, and thus take I thy heart. Give me my own again, 'twere no good part, to take on me to keep and kill thy heart. Now.
I need it.
So now I have mine own again. Begone, that I may strive to kill it with a groan. We make woe wanton with this fond delay. Once more adieu, the rest let sorrow say. Scene 2. The same, a room in the Duke of York's palace. Enter York and his Duchess. My lord, you told me you would be... My lord, you told me you would tell the rest when we had made you break the story off of our 2 cousins coming into London. Or did I leave? At that sad stop, my lord, where rude, misgoverned hands from windows' tops threw dust and rubbish on King Richard's head. Then, as I said, the Duke great Bolingbroke, mounted upon a hot and fiery steed, which his aspiring rider seemed to know, with slow but stately pace kept on his course, while on tongues cried, God save thee, Bolingbroke. You would have thought the very window spake, so many greedy looks of young and old through casement started their desiring eyes upon his visage, and that all the walls with painted imagery had said once, Jesu preserved thee. Welcome, Bolingbroke. Whilst he from one side of the other tuning, bareheaded lower than his proud steed's neck, the sake them thus. I thank you, countrymen. And thus still doing, thus he passed along. Alack, poor Richard, where rode he the whilst? As in a theatre the eyes of men, after a well-graced actor leaves the stage, are idly bent on him that enters next, thinking his prattle to be tedious. Even so with much more contempt men's eyes did scowl on Richard. No man cried, God save him, no joyful tongue gave him his welcome home. But dust was thrown upon his sacred head, which with such gentle sorrow he shook off, his face still combating with tears and smiles the badges of his grief and patience, that had not God for some strong purpose steeled the hearts of men, they must perforce have melted. And barbarism itself have pitied him, but heaven hath a hand in these events, to whose high we will bound our calm contents. To Bolingbroke are we sworn subjects now, whose state and honor eye for eye allow. Here come my son a Merle that was, but that is lost for being Richard's friend. And madam, you must call him Richard now. I am in Parliament pledged for his truth, and lasting fealty to the new made king. Enter Almerle.
It's no.
Welcome, my son. Who are the violets now that strew the green lap of the new-come spring? Madam, I know not, nor I greatly care not. God knows I had as lief be none as one. Well, bear you well in this new spring of time, lest you be cropped before you come in prime. What news from Oxford? Hold those just in triumphs. For aught I know, my lord, they do. You will be there, I know. If God prevent it not, I purpose so. What seal is that hanged without thy bosom? Yea, lookest thou pale? Let me see the writing. My lord, 'tis nothing. No matter then who sees it. I will be satisfied. Let me see the writing. I do beseech your grace to pardon me. It is a matter of small consequence, which for some reasons I would not have seen. Which for some reason, sir, I mean to see. I fear. Which should you fear? 'Tis nothing but some bond he's uttered to for gay apparel against the triumph day. Bound to himself, what doth he with a bond that he is bound to? Wife, thou art a fool. Boy, let me see the writing. I do beseech you, pardon me, I may not show it. I will be satisfied, let me see it, I say. Treason, foul treason, villain, traitor, slave. What does the matter, my lord? Ho, what is within there? Enter a servant. Saddle my horse. God for his mercy, what treachery is here? Why, what is it, my lord? Give me my boots, I say, saddle my horse. Now by my honor, by my life, my troth, I will impeach the villain. What's the matter? Peace, foolish woman. I will not peace. What is the matter, Almerle? Good mother, be content. It is no more than my poor life must answer. Thy life answer. Bring me my boots. I will unto the king. Ranger servant with boots. Strike him, Almerle. Poor boy, thou art amazed. Hence, villain, never more come in my sight. Give me my boots, I say. Why, York, what wilt thou do? Wilt thou not hide the trespass of thine own? Have we more sons, or are we like to have? Is not my teeming date drunk up with time? And wilt thou pluck my fair son from my age, and rob me of a happy mother's name? Is he not like thee? Is he not thine own? Thou fond mad woman, wilt thou conceal the dark conspiracy? A dozen of them here half tend to the sacrament, and interchangeably set down their hands to kill the King of Oxford. He shall be none. We'll keep him here. Then what is that to him? Away, fond woman. Were he 20 times my son, I would impeach him. Hadst thou groaned for him as I have done, thou'dst be more pitiful. But now I know thy mind. Thou dost suspect that I have been disloyal to thy bed, and that he is a bastard, not thy son. Sweet York, sweet husband, be not of thy mind. He is as like thee as a man may be, not like to me nor any of my kin, and yet I love him. Make way, unruly woman. After Armel, mount thee upon his horse, spur post, and get before him to the king, and beg thy pardon ere he to accuse thee. I'll not be long behind. Though I be old, I doubt not but to ride as fast as Yorick, and never will I rise up from the ground till Bolingbroke have pardoned thee. Begone. Scene 3, Windsor, a room in the castle. Enter Bolingbroke as king, Henry, Percy, and other lords. Can no man tell my unthriftly son? 'Tis full 3 months since I did see him last. If any plague hang over us, 'tis he. I would to God, my lords, he might be found. Inquire at law at London, mongst the taverns there, for there, they say, he daily doth frequent, with unrestrained loose companions. Even such, they say, as stand in narrow lanes, and beat our watch, and rob our passengers. While he, young wanton and effeminate boy, takes on the point of honor to support so dissolute a crew. My lord, some 2 days since I saw the prince, and told him of these triumphs held at Oxford. And what said the gallant? His answer was, he would unto the stews, and from the commonest creature pluck a glove, and wear it as a favor, and with that he would unhearse the lustiest challenger. As dissolute a desperate, yet though both, I see though some sparkles of a better hope, which elder days may happily bring forth. But who comes here? Enter Amro. Where is the king? What means our cousin, that he stares and looks so wildly? God save your grace, I do beseech your majesty to have some conflict with your grace alone. Withdraw yourselves and leave us here alone. What is the matter with our cousin now? Forever may my knees grow to the earth, my tongue cleave to my roof within my mouth, unless a pardon ere I rise to speak. Intended or committed was this fault. If on the first, how heinous ere it be, to win thy after love, I pardon you. Then give me leave that I may turn the key, that no man enter till my tale be done. Have thy desire. My liege, beware. Look to thyself, thou hast a treasure in thy presence there.
Yes.
Veil, and I'll make thee safe. Stay thy revengeful hand, thou hast no cause to fear. Open the door, secure, full-hearted king. Shall I for love speak treason to thy face? Open the door, I will break it open. Enter York. What is the matter, uncle? Speak. Recover breath. Tell us how near is danger, that we may arm us to encounter it. Peruse this writing here, and thou shalt know the treason to my house forbids me show. Remember, as thou readst thy promise past, I do repent me. Read not my name there. My heart is not confederate with my hand. 'Twas villain ere thy hand did set it down. I tore it from the traitor's bosom king. Fear not love begets his pettiness. Forget to pity him, lest thy pity prove a serpent that will sting thee to the heart. Wait, heinous, strong, and bold conspiracy. O loyal father of a treacherous son, thou sheer, immaculate, and silver fountain, from whence this stream, through muddy passages, hath held his current and defiled himself. Thy overflow of good converts to bad, and thy abundant goodness shall excuse this deadly blot in thy distressing son. So shall my virtue be his base bawd, and he shall spend my honor with his shame, as thriftless sons their scraping father's gold. My honor lives when his dishonor dies, or my shamed life in his dishonor lies. Thou kill'st me in his life, giving him breath. The traitor lives, the true man's put to death. What ho, my liege, for God's sake let me in. What shrilled voice, suppliant, makes this eager cry? A woman, and thy aunt, great king, 'tis I. Speak with me, pity me, open the door. A beggar begs that never begged before. Our scene is altered from a serious thing, and now changed to the beggar and the king. My dangerous cousin, let your mother in. I know she's come to pray for you, foul sin. If thou do pardon, whosoever pray, more sins for this forgiveness prosper may. This festive joint cut off, the rest rests sound. This let alone will all the rest confound. Enter Duchess. Oi, king, believe not this hard-hearted man. Love, loving not itself, none other can. Thou frantic woman, what dost thou make here? Shall thy old drugs once more a traitor rear? Sweet York, be patient. Hear me, gentle liege. Rise up, good aunt. Not yet, I thee beseech. Forever will I walk upon my knees, and never see day that the happy sees, till thou give joy, until thou bid me joy. By pardoning Rutland, my transgression bore, unto my mother's prayer I bend my knee. Against them both my true joints bended be. How mayst thou thrive if thou grant any grace? Pleads he in earnest? Look upon his face. His eyes do drop no tears. Iris prayers are in jest. His words come from his mouth, ours from our breast. He prays but faintly and would be denied. We pray with heart and soul and all beside. His weary joints would gladly rise. I know, our knees shall kneel to the ground they grow. His prayers are full of false hypocrisy, ours of true zeal and deep integrity. Our prayers do outpray his, then let them have that mercy which true prayer ought to have. Good aunt, stand up. Nay, do not say stand up, but pardon first, and afterwards stand up. And if I were thy nurse, thy tongue to teach, pardon should be the first word of thy speech. I never longed to hear a word till now. Say pardon, king, let pity teach thee how. The word is short, but not so short as sweet. No word like pardon, for king's mouth so to meet. Speak it in French, king, say, pardonnez-moi. Dost thou teach pardon, pardon to destroy? Ah, my sour husband. My hard-hearted lord, that setteth the word itself against the word. Speak pardon as 'tis current in our land. The chopping French we do not understand. Thine eye begins to speak. Let thy tongue there, or in thy piteous heart plant thou thine ear. That hearing how our plants and prayers do pierce, pity may move thee pardon to rehearse. Good aunt, stand up. I do not sue to stand. Pardon is all the suit I have in hand. I pardon him, as God shall pardon me. Oh, happy vantage of a kneeling knee. Yet am I sick for fear. Speak it again. Twice saying pardon doth not pardon twain, but makes one pardon strong. With all my heart I pardon him. A god on earth thou art. But for our trusty brother-in-law and the abbot, with all the rest of that consorted crew, destruction straight shall dog them at his heels. Good uncle, help to order several powers to Oxford, or where these traitors are. They shall not live with this world, I swear, but I will have them if I once know where. Uncle, farewell, and cousin too, adieu. Your mother, what hath prayed and prove you true. Come, my old son, I say God make thee new. Scene 4, another room in the castle. Enter X10 and a servant. Didst thou not make the king? What words he spake? Have I no friend will rid me of this living fear? Or was it not so? Those were his very words. Have I no friend? Quoth he spake it twice, and urged it twice together, did he not? He did, and speak it he wistly looked on me, as who should say, I would thou wert be the man that would divorce this terror from my heart. Meaning the king of Pomfret. Come, let's go, I am the king's friend, and will rid his foe. Scene 5, Pomfret, the dungeon of the castle. Enter King Richard. I have been studying how I may compare the prison where I live into the world. And for because the world is populous, and here is not a creature but myself, I cannot do it. Yet I'll hammer it out. My brain I'll prove the female to my soul the father, and these two begat into generation of still breeding thoughts. And these same thoughts people this little world, humorous like the people of this world. For no thought is contended. The better sort, as thoughts of things divine, are intermixed with scruples, and do set the word itself against the word. As thus come little ones. And then again, it is as hard to come as for a camel to thread the postern of a needle's eye. Thoughts tending to ambition, they do plot unlikely wonders. How these vain, weak nails may tear a passage through the flinty ribs of this hard world, my ragged prison walls, and for they cannot die in their own pride. Thoughts tending to content flatter themselves that they are not the first of fortune's slaves, nor shall not be the last, like silly beggars who sitting in the stocks refused their shame, that many have had others must sit there, and in this thought they find a kind of ease, bearing their own misfortune on the back of such as have before endured the like. Thus play I in one person many people, and none contended. Sometimes am I king. The treason makes me wish myself a beggar, and so I am. The increasing penury persuades me I was better than when I king. Then am I king again, and by, think that I am unliked by Bolingbroke, and straight in nothing, but whate'er I be, nor I nor any man that but man is. With nothing shall be pleased, till he be eased with being nothing. music do I hear? Ha ha, keep time. How sour sweet music is, when time is broke and no proportion kept. So is it in the music of men's lives, and here have I the dainties of ear to check time broken disordered string. But for the concord of my state and time had not an ear to hear my true time broke. I wasted time, and now doth time waste me, for now hath time made me his numbering clock. My thoughts are minutes, and with sighs they jar their watches on unto mine eyes, the outward watch, where to my finger, like a dial's point, is pointing still and cleansing them from tears. Now, sir, the sound that tells what hour it is are clamorous groans that strike upon my heart, which is a bell. So sighs and tears and groans show minutes, times, and hours, but my time runs posting on its Bolingbroke's proud joy. While I stand foolish here, his jack the clock, this music made mad me. Let it sound no more, for though it hath holped madmen to their wits, in me it seems it will make wise men mad. Yet blessing on his heart that gives it me, for 'tis a sign of love, and love to Richard it is a strange brooch in this all-hating world. Enter groom of the stable. Hail, royal prince. Thanks, noble peer. The cheapest of us is 10 groats to dear. What art thou? And how comest thou hither, man? Where no man never comes but the sad dog that brings me food to make misfortune live. I was a poor groom of thy stable king, when thou wert king, who, travelling towards York with much ado, at length have gotten leave to look upon my sometimes royal mastered face. Oi, how it yearned my heart when I beheld in London streets, that coronation day when Bolingbroke rode on roan Barbary, that horse that thou so often hast bestrid, that horse that I do carefully have dressed. Rode he on Barbary? Tell me, gentle friend, how went it under him? So proudly as if he disdained the ground, so proud that Bolingbroke was on his back. That jade hath eat bread from my royal hand. This hand hath made him proud with clapping him. Would he not stumble? Would he not fall down? Since pride must have a fall, and break the neck of that proud man that did usurp his back? Forgiveness, Horace, why do I rail on thee? Since thou created to be awed by man, what's born to bear? I was not made a horse, and yet I bear a burden like an ass, spur galled and turred by jauncing Bolingbroke. Enter keeper with a dish. Fellow, give place, here is no longer stay. If thou love me, 'tis time thou wert away. What my tongue dares not, that my heart shall say. My lord, will't please you to fall to? Taste of it first, as thou art wont to do. My lord, I dare not. Sir Pierce of Exton, who lately came from the king, commands the contrary. The devil take Henry of Lancaster and thee. The devil take Henry of Lancaster and thee. Patience is stale, and I am weary of it. Help, help, help! Enter Exton and servants armed. How now? What means death in this rude assault? Villain, thine own hand yields thy death instrument. Go thou and fill another room in hell. That hand shall burn in never-quenching fire that staggers thus my person. Exton, thy fierce hand hath with the king's blood stained the king's own hand. Mount, mount, my soul. Thy seat is upon high, whilst my gross flesh sinks downward here to die. As full of valor as of royal blood, both have I spilt. Oi, would the deed were good, for now the devil, that told me I did well, says that this deed is chronicled in hell. This deed, king to the living king, I'll bear. Take hence the rest, and give them burial here. Scene 6. Windsor, an apartment in the castle. Enter Bolingbroke and York with lords and attendants. King Uncle York, the latest news we hear is that the rebels have consumed with fire our town of Cirencester in Gloucestershire, but whether they batain or slain, we hear not. Enter Northumberland. Welcome, my lord. What is the news? First, to the sacred state wish I all happiness. The next news is I have to London sent the heads of Salisbury, Spencer, Blunt, and Kent. The manner of their taking may appear at large discoursed in this paper here. We thank thee, gentle Percy, for thy pains, and do thy worth will add right worthy gains. Enter Fitzwater. My lord, I have from Oxford sent to London the 2 heads of Brocas and Sir Bennet Seeley, 2 of the dangerous consorted traitors that sought at Oxford thy dire overthrow. Thy pains, Fitzwater, shall not be forgot. Right noble is thy merit. Well I wot. Enter Henry Percy with the Bishop of Carlisle. The grand conspirator, abbot of Westminster, with claw of conscience and sour melancholy, hath yielded up his body to the grave. But here is Carlisle living to abide a kingly doom and sentence of his pride. Carlisle, this is your doom. Choose out some secret place, some reverend room, more than thou hast, and with it joy thy life. So as thou livest in peace, die free from strife. For thou mine enemy thou hast ever been. High sparks of honor in thee have I seen. Enter Exton with attendants bearing a coffin. Great king, within this coffin I present thy buried fear. Herein all breathless lies the mightiest of thy greatest enemies, Richard of Bordeaux, by my hither brought. Exton, I thank thee not, for thou hast wrought a deed of slander with my fatal hand, upon my head and all the famous land. From your own mouth, my lord, did I this deed. They love not poison that do poison need, nor do I thee, though I did wish him deed. I hate the murderer, love him murdered. The guilt of conscience take thou from thy labor, but neither my good word nor princely favor. With Cain go wander through the shade of night, and never show thy head by day nor light. Lord, thy protest my soul is full of woe, that blood should sprinkle me to make me grow. Come mourn with me for that I do lament, and put on sullen black incontinent. I'll make a voyage to the Holy Land, to wash this blood off from my guilty hand. March sadly after, grace my mournings here, and weeping after this untimely bier.
Is that all of it? Finish it out.
Those security rings we freed were protecting them. Though it doesn't look like this place was built with them in mind. Clovis probably built it for him and his family alone. Not that it mattered in the end. Those poor people thought they found a safe haven. But all they found was a bitter end.